Hey everybody, happy Monday. Daddy is hanging with the little guy this morning for a few minutes, and so I thought it'd be a good time to get a video in with you. Um, I had, naturally I am such a control freak. I had all these plans and ideas mapped out for this video series, and honestly, it just became stressful and forced. So we ditched that, and we're just gonna wing it for a little while until I get the hang of this. I thought I would start with perhaps the most pressing question I have received recently in response to my social media blasts and kind of the unveiling of this unschooling journey, and that is, what is unschooling? Um, I know this question is a complex one because it has taken me several months to really digest the idea of deschooling, which is kind of the first phase of the unschooling experience. And really, I don't think we're ever going to arrive at the destination. I think it's going to be this slow unraveling of the process as we're living it. And I will share bits of information that become available to me with you over time. So I think at its essence, unschooling seeks to move us beyond the limitations of mainstream constructs and ideas. I think it's helping us to break free of labels and kind of see how labeling can be unhelpful in circumstances, and especially when related to our children. But I think the biggest thing that comes to mind when I think of unschooling is this idea of living while learning. So rather than breaking down the reasons why we have chosen not to go the mainstream route with, public school or private school education, or any kind of conventional schooling for that matter, I would much rather discuss why we have chosen unschooling and the importance of contextual learning and meaningful learning. And what that essentially means is when we make decisions in our learning, when we choose the subject matter and we love what we are learning, we are going to foster a lifelong love of learning, and we won't feel forced to want to work hard for the things that we love because we're intrinsically motivated to do those things. And so when I explore the dynamic of my conventional schooling and I think about the most valuable bits that I took from being in school for several years, I think it was really growing as a human being. It was less the content that I was ingesting, but more the experiences of being around different types of people. And when I got to make those little connections with the things that I did love, and I got those sparks kind of went off, that's really what was valuable for me. So I think about, what if we could offer that all the time? What if there was never this need to be forced to learn things just because, and we could always follow our interests and our passions? Wouldn't we'd be more motivated to learn then? Wouldn't we be able to pursue the things that we love rather than the things that we think we need to know because other people say that we need to know them? And the answer is yes. And I've seen this happen with the children. I've seen my 4-year-old, who has been exposed to very little schooling, come home and have this really negative association between learning and living, or learning and playing, when in actuality, he's learning while he's playing, and why would we want to create this distinction between what is learning and what is living? Does that really set us up for success in the world? Does that really help us learn how to live in the world and coexist with other human beings? And I don't really know the answer to that. I think that being in an environment which is supportive and loving and facilitating in nature, and kind of helping you explore the things that are important to you, could perhaps offer us a better opportunity to grow as happy, emotionally integrated human beings. I think that that's the crux of it. I think that rather than separating into these subjects of math and science and reading and history and this and that, we can look at a situation or a learning experience or an experience in our lives like baking a cake and see that, we're measuring and we're doing math, and, maybe we're mixing ingredients and we're doing science, and we are reading recipes. And so we're learning how to read, and we're developing skills, and we're developing them as we need them, not out of order, not in an arbitrary fashion. And that seems really cool to me. So just kind of going along, I started my journey as an attachment parent. We both did. Shane and I felt really connected to this idea of being more naturally attuned to our children, and, right along with breastfeeding and co-sleeping and all of these other ideas that kind of we have found are very evolutionarily valuable for our children and our family. I thought, what is the attachment theory equivalent in the schooling realm? And that's how I came upon the unschooling discussion. So I know I just threw a lot of information out, probably not in the best order. I definitely will get more organized over time, but I thought that maybe sharing my more informal thoughts about it would be helpful at first, just to give you somewhat of a foundation. And I hope that you will give me your questions and your feedback. Next video, I will be exploring our process of deschooling, which I mentioned is kind of the first phase of the unschooling process, where Shane and I are cleansing our schooled brains of the idea that we have to go to school and do things in a schoolish way. And so I hope you'll stick around for that.